Little twinkling of the piano. I'm picturing Jim Nance saying, "Hello, friends," as I say hello to a friend of ours. Dave Flemming joining us now on the River Islands guest line. Dave, you live from Augusta right now?
Hello, Joes. Yes, I am. I'm here.
I can hear the smile right now, Dave. It's from Cheshire Cat-esque, I am sure.
It feels like San Francisco this morning. It's like cool. It's probably 58 degrees right now. We got a little like cool breeze blowing through the course. It's going to warm up over the weekend, but it is like perfect weather. And the weather is going to be a big part of the story because it's about as nice as it can be. And it's going to be really, really nice all weekend. So, not that we're here to primarily talk golf, but I think the thing that all of us around here are asking is how firm, how fast, because it hasn't rained much here at all. Like if it's going to be 80 degrees without much wind, like these guys, as good as they are, can light this place up. So what's the defense? Like getting it firm and fast. And we're kind of anxious to see how firm they want to get it. There could be the greens could be very difficult this weekend. We'll see.
I'm so pumped for this. I mean, par 3 today. It's one of my favorite days of the year. Makes me miss my dad. Dave, we'll give you a pick at the very end. Let's get into the Giants. I want to go quick because I know your time is limited. The Daniel Susac phenomenon, it's incredible. I mean, the way he's barreling the ball has been outstanding. Ripping pull side, hitting the other way. No one is burying Pat Bailey, but I think they got to ride this momentum and just kind of see where it takes them. Your thoughts on Susac or Bailey or anything in between?
I think they just have to be open to the idea of maybe this guy's going to earn a little more playing time. At least, that is not an indictment of Patrick at all. That's just hey, you are loving what you're seeing from this kid, and clearly there's an energy level of, I think we've seen it over the years many times with young guys who come up and do well. It gives everybody a little jolt, and I think he's given them a jolt when they really have needed it. I mean, these first 2 weeks have not gone well for this team, and Daniel has been one of the only real bright spots. It's a long year. We know it's going to be better than it has been. It is. But for now, I think they're going to have to consider maybe divvying up this playing time a little differently than probably they had planned at the start of the year. And good for him. Like I had always heard about Daniel. I've known his brother for a long time. I've known the family. I've heard about Daniel. But I'd always heard his personality was different than Andrew's and sort of like, like so even keeled. I think at the catcher position, there's a fine line of, because Buster was like a very unemotional player. He never showed his emotions on the field, but he was a true tough guy, and like a super competitive. And I'd always heard about Daniel, like the question is like, does he have enough juice to be a catcher? He's such a kind of laid back, nice guy. And I think it's obvious that personality is a really good, like he is not putting extra pressure on himself. It's so easy when you get your first big league opportunity to just put so much pressure on, and it's almost impossible to perform that way. And this guy is not doing that. It's the opposite. He looks really comfortable up there, and that's a cool thing to watch.
All right, now let's transition to the bullpen. Big talk. Obviously, they've blown a couple of games here, and everybody's crushing who to go to, when, and where. Yesterday, after Robbie Ray was outstanding, it's a high-leverage situation. They go right to Ryan Walker, and then they give him the closeout of that inning and the next inning. At the time, it was a 4-0 game, and there's runners on, so it was a little closer. They tacked on a couple more late and went with Keegan Win in the ninth. How does this bullpen shake down for you right now in terms of trust level?
Last night, it should be saved. Everybody should save last night's game as an example of why a lot of baseball people argue for why do we have a closer that has to pitch the night. Now, I'm not saying I 100% agree with that, but last night's the game. If you want to have an example of like, let's use our number one bullpen piece fluidly and not tether that guy just to the ninth inning, because exactly what you said. The game was on the line then when Walker came in. By the time Keegan Win came in, it's a 6-0 game with 3 outs to go. Like if you had saved Walker for the ninth inning and the game had had played out the same way, you're saving him for a very low leverage spot. That is the argument for using guys without like a defined inning role and just saying, Ryan, you're our dude, and whenever we think we absolutely have to have outs, that's when you're coming in. Makes it a little harder on the pitchers, I think. It's a little harder to perform that way. But if you can pull that off, that's a really good way to run a bullpen. And so I think we're going to see more of that. I mean, the bullpen is definitely needs to be better. Tony is still, and his pitching group are still trying to learn about the guys that they have. It's really hard. If you have 3 left-handers in your pen and those guys are going to be exposed against right-handed hitters, that's tough with the rules. You can't mix and match like in the old days. They're going to have to reconsider some of that stuff if that continues. Now, again, really early, I don't want to write any of these pitchers off and say they can't do this, they can't do that. But if you have left-handers who you can't have face right-handed hitting and you got 3 of them in your pen, that's not good. They need to that will need to be addressed. So we'll see what eventually comes of that. But for now, the way that Walker got used last night, that's a pretty cool thing.
Talking with Dave Flemming here on the River Islands guest line, Giants broadcaster and R95 The Game Giants Insider at Augusta for the Masters this week, working for ESPN over on that side. Dave, what have you made of Rafi Devers' start to the season thus far? Just batting 196, slugging 283. And the at-bats, this is a guy that, listen, is he Tony Gwynn? He's not, but he is a top 10 hitter when he is at his best. It just looks like, I don't know, this is my first time really watching a lot of him, obviously Red Sox days, the last few months of last season, but just the strikeouts, I've actually been more shocked, if anything, when I'm watching Rafi Devers.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's not necessarily the strikeouts. He's a high swing and miss guy. He's always been that way. But by the same token, Aaron Judge is a big swing and miss guy. Like, the key for those types of hitters is you can swing and miss a lot if you still barrel up the ball, more than almost anybody. And that when Devers is going right, that's what happens. It's a lot of swing and miss, but it's also a lot of really loud contact, and not necessarily. I mean, there'll be strikeouts, but not necessarily like league leading total of strikeouts. He's obviously not himself right now. I think with Bader and Devers both, it's clear, whatever you think about spring training and the stats don't matter and what the reps do matter, and getting interrupted at the end for both of those guys has really hurt them both, I think, where like they couldn't play the last week and they weren't so then the season starts and you're just swimming upstream against big league pitching that's ready to go. Devers runs hot and cold. He does. I always saw it with the Red Sox. When he starts to go to left field, that's when his swing is getting good. And last night I thought was a really good sign. I think one of those at bats, he didn't get anything to show for it. One of them he had a hit. But if he's going to left with authority like that, I mean, I thought the home run the other night was a great sign. And obviously it hasn't been like a red hot stretch since then. They need him. I mean, there's no doubt, like, of all the stuff that hasn't gone right in the first 2 weeks, the number one thing they have to get right on this team is there's a core group of position players that have to perform, for this team to be as good as they want to be. And he's right in the middle of that. And so he's got to be better. He will be better. And hopefully that happens soon. I think that left field swing is a good indication.
I'm looking at the outfield right now. And obviously Bader has the only home run in the outfield. They have 6 extra base hits total. They're 20 for 125, the starters, Ramos, Lee, Bader. And, that's like 167 batting average. I'm very concerned right now about Elliot Ramos in general. I know it's early. He's been very streaky. I'm concerned with Lee. Where are you at with this outfield as a whole?
Yeah, Elliott, now that's where the strikeout totals are concerning. Like that, Elliott's striking out at just a massive clip. You cannot be a successful major league hitter and be striking out at the rate that he's striking out. And the scary part about that is that stat becomes predictive sooner than most. Like that is a number that tells you something pretty early in the season. That would worry me about him if I were Buster and Zach and Tony and And look, we've seen Elliott perform. We know he can do it. It's amazing to look up on the big board and remember he's only 26 years old. It feels like he's been around forever. He's still one of the younger players on this team. That is not to say he can't get that going, but that swing and miss, whatever is going on right now, has to get corrected. Jung also concerning, not a lot of impact right now. He's a corner outfielder. The defense can be really helpful. We saw Mike Yastrzemski, even in his sort of slumps, be a valuable player because he's a good all-around player. Jung is that too. But if you're in the corner outfield spot, you got to hit. And so those two guys, Bader, I think we all kind of know what Bader is. Bader is a lower batting average, power. He needs to hit some home runs, but play good defense, hit some home runs. In center field, you can be a valuable guy. Those corner guys have to hit more. And I don't think you're wrong to be concerned about that. They have a lot of outfield prospects in the minor leagues, but that are not ready to go right now. And so there's nowhere to turn. I mean, those are the guys for this team, and they got to get it going.
Talking about concern with the Giants. There's someone I have no concern with whenever he plays at Augusta. Scotty Scheffler. I mean, this guy, I'm looking at DraftKings right now because I'm a degenerate, Dave. Plus 510 for the outright winner. The next closest to outright win the Masters is John Rahm at plus 900. You got DeChambeau there. I know Shasky's talked a lot about him with Bryson this week. Anyone that's not on the traditional radar that I should be looking at maybe, Dave, to sneaky top 10 or top 5?
Well, I mean, look, I think there's no place where past performance predicts future success more than here. This is a golf course where if it fits you and you know how to play this place, you succeed. I mean, Zach Johnson last year finished in the top 10. Zach Johnson was 49 years old and hits it shorter by far than anybody else in the field. And he finished in the top 10 in a year where it wasn't like extreme weather conditions or like so go down that list and find the guys who have played well here before. And even if they don't have awesome form coming in, those players often just bring their best here. The Fred Couples thing year after year, why does he just keep performing here? Some guys this place fits them. And so those are the ones that I always circle. I mean, I think form coming in is important here too. It feels wider open than it ever has to me, even with a lot of really good players at the top of the world rankings. None of those guys are on a heater. So Rory's scuffled this year a little bit. Scotty's definitely scuffling with the iron play. The putting for a couple of the top players hasn't been great. It could be, and the other thing about it is firm, fast, dry. That levels the playing field a little bit. That does allow the shorter, probably can't be the shortest guy in the field and win, but it does mean you get rollout and the distance advantage isn't it, because the Bombers have been killing it at Augusta the last decade. The big hitters are the ones who've succeeded here. And I think that could be mitigated a little bit. So it might, motivate you to look down that list and find somebody who isn't near the top of the driving statistics, but who has played here well in the past. I'd focus on those kind of players.
Very quickly back to the Giants. Obviously, there's this Bryce Eldridge elephant where everyone's waiting to get into the room. Defense at first base has just been unacceptable, quite frankly. It's been spotty. I know there's been some tough plays, and you do have a couple of guys playing out of position there. I loved Dom Smith last year. I'm not saying he should be on this year's roster. Just first base defensively as a whole, what do they do to navigate this regular season there?
I think here's the number one thing you do. You trust that Devers is going to be just fine there. And I do think that's going to be the case. He needs to play there a lot more, though. He needs to be out there a lot. So I think the number one thing you believe is that Devers is going to be the guy. And so I have comfort that he can stabilize that position. You are 100% right. That is unacceptable. You have to be able to catch the ball at first base. Like, that seems so basic and elementary, and yet it hasn't been for the Giants this year. Like, so that is a pretty good starting point for what can we get cleaned up right away. And, I use this line with a couple of the Giants front office people just sort of in jest, but I actually think it's true. Like, whoever would have thought that Bryce Eldridge's defense might be the thing that gets into the big leagues? It is possible. Yeah. It is possible that they get to that point because he's gotten a lot better on defense. But I think trust that Devers is going to stabilize over there. I think that'll happen.
Dave, so for FootJoy, I'm typically a medium on polo size. For Peter Millar,
you're
technically,
shameless.
I'm a large.
So shameless.
If there's any, extra funds in the Flemming household and happens to be a polo or a pullover or something, just don't forget about your boy.
Oh my God.
Wait, give me those sizes again. What'd you say?
Medium and FootJoy, because they tend to run a little larger, the polos. And then I'm like a large in a Peter Millar, which is, Holderness and Bourne. I'll accept. Yeah, I'll take anything.
Get him nothing, please, for the love of God.
I'll take a day-old sandwich.
I haven't been yet to the shop. Yesterday, the wait was 2 hours to get in.
God.
It's absolutely incredible, the operation that they're running there. So we'll see if I can sneak my way in. We'll see.
You knew Augusta lines were like Disneyland or Disney World. That's insane.
What hole are you going to be on when I watch? Where are you stationed?
4, 5, and 6. Nice. So, tomorrow morning we will be the first golf coverage that comes on.
Let's go.
Like, we will be on. So probably like about, I don't want to say 5 a.m. your time, but probably by 5:15-ish, we will have our first pairing come to hole 4. And we just go when the guys get to us. So you got to get up early your time, but we will be the first golf that comes on. If you go to masters.com or the ESPN app, we'll be on there.
Hell yeah. We'll be listening, Dave.
I've got Brooks Koepka and Bryson DeChambeau. Those are my 2 picks.
I know that's good odds for Koepka.
Those are 2. I know those are 2 straightforward. I just think Brooks, he needs the stage. He's craving it.
Yeah, Brooks is, his iron play has been awesome this year. Sort of quietly, he hasn't turned it into results, but it's been really good. So I like that pick. I mean, he's got a great track record here. Bryson's got a great track record other than finishing the deal off here. And in, 6 of the last 8 majors, he's been in the top 5 or some top 10. Those are good picks. And look, it has been a favorites. Everybody loves to try to find the underdog, and maybe this will be the year. But I think 6 of the last 7 years at the Masters, the winner has come from the top 3 betting favorites going in. So it has not been an underdog run here lately at Augusta.
Have fun, my friend.
Absolutely. Dave, thanks so much, man.
Talk to you guys soon.
Hell yeah.
There he goes. Live from Augusta.